I don't know, but for some reason that song gets me hyped, ready to get started with the show. So hi everyone, welcome to the show. My name is Brian Bacchus. Yours will never be unless you were born from somebody in my family and they named you me. That's the only way.
I'm Jamal Smith. I'm glad to be back for my on assignment for the last couple shows. And welcome to show, what are we on? 105.
105. Stay alive.
And we got
Toni
next.
Daily Reigns, Toni Talk Show, which is today. So super excited to be here and have our fabulous guests from the Altadena Town Council. Let's see if we could. Oh wait, I gotta go.
Nick,
this
we're
way.
gonna put you on the spotlight like that.
Nic Arnzen.
Got it.
At home with Nic Arnzen.
At home on location.
We all are at home. We just don't look like it.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So thank you, Nic, for agreeing to come on. So happy to have you here today. I think we're going to have a full hour. We have a lot of discussions, and we'll have a really good time talking about what's happening in Altadena, what the Altadena Town Council is doing. You all were also awarded a grant. We'll talk about that and plans for those funds, and just get an update. So super glad you came on today. So tell us a little bit about who Nic Arnzen is, and what your role is on the town council, and then we're going to get started. Because I also know you're an actor.
I was, yeah. I think was always is, right? I'm a politician, so I got to be an actor. About
They
Nic
kind of go
Arnzen.
hand in hand, huh?
That's right. Sometimes it's an easy transition. Nic Arnzen is happy right where he's at right now. Loves Altadena. I love that I'm talking to you today. I love that I'm working for our community. It's something I was raised with. The 60-second bio would be I was born and raised in Iowa with hardworking parents, a truck driver for a father, and they showed me what it is to volunteer, what it is to step up for your community. I kind of, as any teen, threw that out and said, no, I'm all about me. I live my life, and eventually started having children and found my way back to that and found my way to Altadena. And moving on to the town council was a no-brainer. I just wanted to make our town as strong as possible. I have a husband, so we're a queer family with 4 kids, and we wanted to make sure we had a diverse community, and we wanted to embrace that community and uplift that community. And diversity isn't just the marginalized community you live in, it's the entire marginalized communities around you, because together we're stronger. And I sound like I'm running for office, but I'm not. But that's where I am today.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
And that's the thing, is it's about who you are, right? And you're just sharing who you are and what is inside of you. And that's what's so important. So, and I love that. I love that, you say it's about all of us, because it really is. We see all these protests happening and what's happening to our brothers and sisters of other cultures, right? And other heritages. And if we don't all stand up together, then this will be the blueprint that they will use all over the U.S. And we will be in an authoritarian or a dictatorship in no time if we don't say no to fascism, and no, because there were not riots, there were protests. Yes, there's always bad actors in anything, and those people should have been arrested, whether it was by sheriffs, LAPD, CHP, whomever. I don't believe in the whole thing where they get on these freeways and block them. You're trying to disrupt, but do it peacefully. Like Martin Luther King and all of them did. It's fine to march, but this country has a history of violence from the very beginning, and how they deal with things is violently instead of peacefully. And I personally hate that. As you know, I'm a veteran, and I stand for our Constitution and democracy. And so all the foolishness that we see now in this stupid parade that's happening Saturday, I will not even let myself get upset about the ignorance that is coming out of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue right now. But but when it comes to our own community and our closeness in Altadena and what's happening, tell me a little bit about what your role is, or what district or area you are representing on the town council.
You bet. I'm going to piggyback on what you were saying, Tony. Absolutely, yes, to all of it. And I also really appreciate, and this is part of the scenario, is that you need to appreciate other people's way to express their disappointment and their fear. And I, with you, do not agree in the violent aspects, but I will go back. And traditionally, it took multi-pronged efforts. You know, I mean, I'm going back to like, during the AIDS crisis, we had ACT UP on the streets, angry and doing their thing, and people were upset about that. That's not what represents our community. Of course it isn't, but that's a segment of our community, and let's embrace it. You know, I definitely no violence, no looting, but if you're going to get angry and raise your voice, that's not what I do, but I need that. I support that, and I will stand by that. So I think that's a good segue into the council. The council is made up of, you know, really unique voices that don't always agree, but need to find a way to come together and fight for our community. I represent what's called 4602. So a quick lesson. Altadena separated into 8 census tracts, and they're exactly what you think. They're created through the census. So the census says there's a number of people here. Let's split it somewhat evenly. So those tracts run through Altadena. I represent census tract 4602, which is between Lake and Fair Oaks from Mariposa up to the mountain. So it's one big rectangle.
Yeah,
and
all of that.
An interesting and sad side note is that census tract in all of the districts and census tract of the fires was hit the hardest. 90%, just about 90% of that census tract is gone. 98% is severely damaged. So nobody's back in my census tract. So we have a town council meeting every month, and you can do a census tract report. So I obviously had nothing to report because everybody's in the same boat pretty much in my census tract. And the last thing I'll say, you know, town council has one goal, pretty much one job, and that is to amplify the voice of the community and to let the community in reverse know what's going on from the county. They relay info from the county, but they don't speak for the county. Sometimes we're in a position where it seems like that, where we're talking about and talking up a county program that might not be perfect, but at least it's something to help. And there's confusion of, oh, so you're supporting the county. You know, to the degree of getting their info out, absolutely. To the degree of anything that could help somebody, absolutely. So that's kind of our one job. And if it isn't communication, it's land use issues. And that's another committee that lives on the town council. And land use will always deal with anything that pushes against the codes or needs special permissions. That's the only reason it would come to us. And lastly, I'll say, we serve basically as an advisory committee to the supervisor. Ours happens to be Catherine Barger, but we make no decision, no legislation is set within the council. We only make recommendations. And I will say those recommendations, all my time in my third term now on the council, have always been listened to and held up by the supervisor. So I just sit in a position where I know we've been heard. I don't know why. I think it's because we're a big voting bloc, to be honest. But for whatever reason, we are taken care of traditionally. So we'll see how the cards fall these next months and years.
Yeah, big voting bloc, big tax bloc. For property taxes, we put a lot of money into the county. And so, but you're right. So you and I are both on some of these Facebook pages for Altadena. And I say that because, so, you know,
I know why you say that.
I'm very like cut and dry, almost black and white, but I know there's got to be some gray area.
Yep.
I said it on the show yesterday. I don't automatically assume as a homeowner that if something happens to my home, the government's responsible to take care of it, because they're not. Now, I do understand that, yes, this was a natural disaster that no one ever could even imagine or saw coming. But for so many people to have this kind of entitled attitude that the government should be, the county and the state of California should be paying to rebuild their home, to me is a little bit insane. I still can't wrap my head around it. Are you frozen? No, you're good. Okay.
No,
sometimes we have difficulties and we freeze, so I wasn't sure.
Deep in thought.
But for me, I gave an example yesterday, like when I put my solar panels up on my roof a couple years ago, a year and a half ago. It's my responsibility to call my insurance company and say, hey, I have panels now, and that changes what I pay. But if I don't and do that upgrade, right, and pay a little extra, then if something happens to my house and those panels get ruined, guess what? They're not going to cover them, right? So that's the same with whether it's earthquake insurance, fire insurance, flood insurance, whatever. It's up to us as responsible homeowners to make sure that our policies are intact. Now, I'm not going to speak harshly about anybody because I don't know anyone's situation. I'm going to give everyone grace. But there are people that don't have policies altogether. I know specifically of a young man that lived not far from me. We're on our family home. My parents' home was on Wapello at the end at Mount Curve, right? But somewhere right up around that area that he inherited the home from, grandparents down to parents to him. And I think his insurance had gone up, I don't know if it was $7,000 a year or something for whatever reason. And he was like, I can't afford this. And he let it go. And so now the fires came and he doesn't have a home and he wasn't insured. That kind of situation, I hate to even hear about. And I would want to work with our group, our foundation, others in the community or whatever, so that when we do come back, maybe we can have some kind of a fund in Altadena that would help people with that type of stuff, with insurance, right? We also want to have and host a, just like we hosted the Builders Town Hall, I want to host something for financial planning so that you do have your insurance that's correct for your home, so that you have your home in a trust, right? And so that if it was passed down, because as we have found out, so many people got these homes passed down, but the deeds are still in their great grandparents or grandparents' names, right? And they never transferred it over or put it in a family trust. And that shouldn't happen. And the bulk of people that happened to or are in that situation are from the West Side and the more historical side of African Americans, right? And so we need to make sure our community is aware of what is the best possible way going forward after they rebuild, right? For those that are staying and are going to rebuild. So I know you guys take a lot of heat, and things that I've seen in some of these pages is that, yes, you all as the town council either aren't hearing the people or don't speak for the people or, they don't represent us or whatever. And my thing is, whoever your census tract representative is, find out, go on the website, find out, email and call that person. If you have to do it every day until they hear you or say, hey, can we meet in person, sit down and talk? You guys are in the community. I have seen you all numerous times in the community at events, 2 or 3 times at Alta Park and, other places. And so I just wonder how often you get phone calls or emails directly to you for the people that are in your tract. And I know a lot of people in your tract that lost homes saying, hey, I want to know what's going on. And I know that most times people don't go to town council meetings or even log on online until there's an issue. And so if you're involved, right, and I always say civic engagement has to start at the local level. We can't just talk about voting for a president every 4 years. If you're not involved in your town council, your city council, your county government and those elections and speaking up, and the people know you when they see you. Every time I see Catherine, she's like, hey, and literally I've called her supervisor a few times. She's like, just call me Catherine. I'm like, okay, whatever. I still say, hey, hey, Supervisor Barger or whatever. But she's like, I tell you, just call me Catherine. I'm like, I'm not doing that. But anyway, if they know your face, when you saw me at the park, I didn't even see you. You were like, hey, Toni. So you guys know my voice, you know my face, you know my name, whatever, right? And so I know I could call you, I could call Melissa, whoever, if I had a real issue. That's what has to happen. And so how often do you get those type of engagements from people, whether it's a call or an email?
Yeah, well, all of that. There's a lot. Let's start with social media. Social media, I don't pay as much attention to. In regular times, I had some high school interns that would kind of troll social media, and I would encourage them not to engage because that's not a road you want to go down, but to report back, what are they thinking? So just because you don't see us on social media doesn't mean we're not checking it out, but we're making a point of not engaging because we need to reserve our energy. And I'm only speaking for myself, but I know there's other council members who feel the same way. And let me backtrack. All the council members are volunteers. While we are elected officials, we work to get elected, and then we work to uphold why people elected us. And again, that goes back to just to relay the information. I think we have a responsibility. And what I do hear past the anger and past the disappointment on social media, I try to still hear the message. People will take that opportunity of going, okay, I get to disconnect. I don't have to listen to Toni because Toni's yelling at me, so I'm going to step away. I try to say to myself, okay, just like you said, where are they at? You know, where is their trauma, especially in this time? Where is their anger? Where do they feel like they're not being heard? And let me push that aside. And like you, I try to give them grace. I'm not always as successful as I'd like to be, but when I can hear their message. And here's what I think we're not doing that we could do better. We need to uphold organizations that can do the things that we don't do. It's not in our lane to hold these resource fairs. It's not in our lane to, unless it's county related, our lane is just to relay county information and to amplify voices. So you'll see us at events trying to gather those voices. You'll see me put surveys out trying to see how people feel. It's a tough time right now, and you've got multiple members like myself on the council who lost everything, who lost our houses, who lost our safe space in our home offices. So we're in a position where we're just trying to get on the ground as much as possible and get your voices as much as possible. Here's where we're failing. And that's important because I think anybody who doesn't point out where they're failing is not going to improve and is not going to do a better job. So I try to look each day without any beating myself down about it. I try to say, what didn't I do? Because I can figure out what I did and hold myself up. That's fine. My family's good for that. What we're not doing is upholding the organizations and creating a space for them to amplify what they do so that people can go to those. We're not gathering the information in a more efficient way so people don't feel overwhelmed with information. So they can look at it and figure out which sites do I go to. And I'm working on that right now. I'm taking over. I was the communication chair, and during these past 5 months, we created a comms team because I realized I can't run this communication committee. On Monday night, I'm going to take that back, and we have a 4-step program and structure in place to figure out how can we reach the regular Altadenan and tell them this is where you go, this is who you trust. Vetting is a big thing. I'm not going to tell anybody who to choose for a builder or who to choose for a lawyer. I'm not going to do that as an individual, let alone as a council member, because I am not going to be responsible for a wrong suggestion. I'm trying to figure that out myself. So I'm still working on it. So to your point, I'm going to get back to social media. It goes back to those angry voices of any protest. You need those loud voices because you need that point and that subject matter to be pushed in the forefront. Now, when it becomes toxic and they're only going to stick to their own narrative, there's where I got a problem. If I can talk to you online in the same space where you're throwing out these accusations and mistruths, and you can get real with me, that's when I respect you. That's when I appreciate you. If you're only going to do that offline in a private message, I just don't have use for you, and I don't say that in a disrespectful way. I literally have no use for your nonsense. You either get to it and get true and get factual, or you get on your own way. So no, I don't dive as deep into social media as I used to, and I should, because it's an extremely, bless you, it's an extremely useful medium when it's used the right way.
It can be.
And the right way isn't just my way. The right way is sometimes angry. The right way is truth. And the right way is, if we can get to the truth, and if you can ask your question, not yell your question, then we got something going.
I like that. Ask your question, not yell your question. Yeah.
Because nobody hears. I mean, if you yell all the time, people are going to start blocking you out. It's I
Exactly.
watch out for those people. They are hurt and they want to be heard. And I just ran into someone in the supermarket who spent 10 minutes yelling at a camera crew that was talking to me about something that had nothing to do with what she was bringing up. But I waited for her to work it out. And then we started having a real talk, right? Because sometimes you just got to wait. A friend of mine told me, I get stopped in grocery store parking lots a lot. And I was telling my friend that grew up with me in Iowa, I feel like I'm not doing the right job because I feel like every time they bring something up, I give them the answer. Hey, we already took care of this. This is already in place. And then they go to a new problem. And then it happens again. And it's a cycle. And I spend 20 minutes with this person. And my friend pointed out to me, Nick, try not giving them the answer right away.
Right.
Try engaging them, letting them talk and either talk it out or letting them know you're going to look into it. And then come back to them the next day and say, hey, here's what I found out. You might know on the spot, but when you throw it back at them, it dismisses their complaint. It makes them think you're not listening to me. You're just giving me a quick answer. And that happens to them all the time. With me, I like to think it's me really trying to help them. But they had a point. This person wants to be heard. And if I immediately shut them down with an answer, they still feel shut down. So I'm trying to make more of an effort of listening, processing, and giving them not just my quick answer, but more nuance to it, getting more info. So I really answer what they're asking, not just the pat answer that I think will work, but I can get them more info.
That's really good. Because then you think about it, you come back to them, right? You circle back, whether it's later that day or the next day. And if there is some anger that they are espousing or just needing to be heard about, listen, because so much in society now, people don't listen. And then you're not
That's a great point. And I'm so glad you said that, because here's what I would compare it to. And it might be a terrible comparison. People might hate it. But I would compare it to talking to a drunk while they're drunk. Yeah. You don't talk to an alcoholic about watching the alcohol intake while they're still drinking. You don't talk to an angry person about being calm while they're still angry. So I'm not trying to play a game with them about, you know what, I'm going to hold on to the answer until tomorrow. I'm trying to actually get them to hear and listen. And I can't teach them that. Look, I just went through 4 teenagers. They're out the house, and now I know what that was like. So I'm not going to teach anybody, and I'm not going to treat someone like a child anymore. But what I am going to do is try to give them grace and try to step back and not be condescending and not have all the answers, even if I think I do. And I often think I do, and that's okay.
You probably often do. Like I often do. And it's funny because, Nick, on here several times, and I'll bring people on and they'll be experts, and I already know the answer. So I literally, Brian and Jamal in the very beginning had to check me a couple times, not on the spot. They showed me some grace, but in the green room later, they were like, Toni, we know you know the answers, but don't ask somebody and then give the answer. Let them answer. I was like, oh, dang, you're right. I did it.
We're not lawyers.
It's like, okay, stop talking. Be quiet. Let whoever is on, who I bring on as the expert, actually talk. Because even last week, I had said something with Colonel Avichal, and he was like, Toni, I might as well give you my job because you already know. And I didn't say the answer, but I was like, well, what about this? And I understand this. Yeah. And then I let him explain. But I have to, because I love researching and finding stuff out. Yeah. But even yesterday after the show, I was on the phone call, and I remember saying to somebody, we could lead a horse to water, we can't make them drink, right? Because people don't, a lot of times people want you to give them the answer. But like you're saying, which is put a pause on giving them, they have a chance to process what you said to them, to calm down if they're upset, and they might even go and research and have the answer by the time you get back to them, instead of using
their answer might be better than ours. Their answer might be improved. And even if it's not, they found it on their own, then they can own it. You know, I can guide them toward it, but this is such a good point because I think conversations miss that part. And I mentioned we're not lawyers because a lawyer's job is to know the answer, and that's why they're asking the question. You know, and a lawyer's job is useful because they need to get to the truth, right? So that's their journey to the truth. So I'm not knocking lawyers, but I will say what we need to do is have more conversations. You have to show up to learn, not show up to preach. Let the
Right.
preacher preach and you can learn. So you have to show up ready to learn. And then if you've got something to share and you're asked about it, you can share that. But if you're ready to learn, that means every person you talk to, even somebody you think you know more than, is going to teach you something because they can. And this town and my job as a council member and my role in life, my role as a father was the same thing. I need to find out who's around me and how they contribute. And I need to make use of that. I can't belittle them and say, I've got it all right here. I need to recognize I've got organizations and individuals who can make this town stronger, and I need them more than they need me. I'm just sitting in a spot where I'm amplifying their voices. Now, if I can connect them, and if I can make use of them, and if they can become more powerful than I ever wanted to be, then that's my goal. You always got to make sure you're watching the person next to you. Raise them up, and they're going to take you with them, or they're not. Raise them up.
That's absolutely right. And just, I will put our shameless plug in. Obviously, you're on the show today, but as you go back and you're talking about the communication plan, you can easily say, look, we have AltadenaTalks, right? Mm-hmm. And they have a breadth and a wealth of information on their YouTube. Obviously, this is literally episode 105, right? And we're not stopping. So whether someone gets on and searches town council, they will find you and Melissa because you two have come on, right? If they search for builders, they will find all the builders that we've brought on the show that came to the Builders Town Hall on March 8th. If they can listen to them and reach out to them, if they want to. Whoever it is that we bring on, if somebody really wants to be in contact with that individual or that office or whatever, we make sure that we bring people on, but that in doing so, we also have their contact information, right? Like this is where you go, this is the website, this is the email, this is the phone number or whatever, in order for people to be in touch with who they need to be in touch with. So,
let me mention on that. That is solid. I mean, Monday night we'll focus on. We know that reaching Altadena is going to take a multi-prong effort, right? Absolutely. We know that person is looking on social media. That's all they do. That person is looking online for blogs and great podcasts like this. That's all they do. We've also got that guy or that woman in the house down the way who's a shut-in, who doesn't get any information, who's not online, and only the neighbors know to knock on that door and say, hey, here's some info, to knock on that door and say, get your butt out of town. There's a fire coming. So we need to rely on those networks, right? But those networks include podcasts. It includes, so what we need to do on Monday night as a council is start making the hard choices and bruise some egos and say, no, this is the podcast we have to get people used to listening to, because that can be their one-stop shop. We got to stop with this. There's 12 different places to go for your info. We have to decide as a council, what is our most trusted source for a blog? What is our most trusted source? It doesn't mean we have to shut down those other blogs and those other sources. Right. We can still amplify them and offer them up as resources, but we have to not exhaust ourselves of trying to reach out to all of them. We got to decide on 4 or 5 different trusted types of news sources, get them to them, have a good media list, have a good email list that reaches every leader, every preacher, every block captain, every organization leader, and trust them to take that one blast of info and disseminate it. So I've been working on that for a year or two, and out of the ashes of the Eden fire comes these people who are like, I'll step up. I've had 2 women put together my email list succinctly, and it's ready to go. What I've had is manpower issues. I'm an exhausted volunteer, and so are the council members. So again, turning to the community to do what they do best, and that's whatever their lane is, PR manager, whatever it is, turning to them, podcast, whatever you do that I can turn on to and amplify it. That's going to what makes us move forward, because it's not too late. We're 5 months in, and it would have been great to have this January 7th and 8th, but we've got it now. We've got the opportunity, and just because we missed the 5 months doesn't mean we can't push it moving forward. We got to make it happen, and we got to make it happen efficiently. So communication is going to tie us together. Then you and I are going to be able to go stop with the toxic, stop with the anger, stop with throwing things, and we'll have a bigger audience to listen.
Yep. I think that that's really good. And we definitely will partner with the town council. I believe Brian did our membership, the AltadenaTalks Foundation membership with the town council. I know we talked about it. Either he did it or he's about to do it, but I think he did it. And then I think that either way, even if you guys don't say, well, Altadena Talks is our trusted podcast, still send me whatever information, if it's a newsletter or whatever, because we go through, and Jamal will be coming on shortly, and we do the announcements. So if there is something new, if there's a link that you want people to go to this link, because segueing into the grant, we, with our grant money, we're told we believe it's going to be 100,000, but it will be somewhere between 0 and that. Whatever it is, we want to give right back to the community. We want to give to renters who, you know, our renters have seriously been impacted. Not that everyone else hasn't, but homeowners, some have insurance, the bulk of them. Some renters have renter insurance, lots didn't, but still lost everything. And so we want to be a blessing to the community and give that cash right back out, right? It wasn't, again, I didn't put in for the grant. I met Lisa the first Saturday up there at Loma Alta. She put us in because I told her about the podcast. She watched some episodes and was like, I'm putting them in for a grant. And then she called me last week, like, Toni, you guys got a grant. But she told me the day on the 17th when we did the opening that she put us in for one. And I was like, oh, wow, thank you. So then, you know, she called last Wednesday and was like, oh, yeah, and I think it's 100,000 or whatever. And immediately, when I got off the phone, I told the guys, and we started talking about how we could get this right back out to the community once it comes, which will probably be next month, after the new fiscal year or whatever. And so we're coordinating some things now, right? So that when that time comes, we can announce it. We can say, look, please fill out this form. The three of us will review it because it goes into our foundation, and we three are the board members of the foundation, and we will go through those and try to hit as many in the community as we can, right? To get that money out. It's not only going to be for renters, but we've already said a large chunk. We want to be able to be a blessing to renters that have lost everything and are still moving once a month or, you know, whatever. And then if this can help them a little bit with that, then that'll be, you know, a blessing. And then there will be other resources that we provide, right? Where it's, okay, we're going to give grocery gift cards because people still need, you know, that are paying a mortgage and rent. Now you've got two. And then how do we feed our family? How do we put gas in our car? How do we, so we're trying to be very mindful of that. And we know that the fact we were blessed to be put in for and receive a grant, it's just going through us back to the community. And so what is it that Altadena Town Council, once you were notified, plans, if you all have talked about the plans of what you plan on doing, and are you at liberty to say how much you all are being given as well?
Well, first of all, yeah, I'll share what I think will happen, but I will stress that the council as a whole will make that choice. So I guess what I'm going to put forward to you is what I'll propose to the council. We found out about the grant by someone posting online that it was listed on the Fire Aid website.
Last week. Okay, yeah.
Our grant did not and cannot come directly to the town council. The town council is not a nonprofit or a official government organization. Okay. So we actually will never directly receive the money except through Rotary. And you and I should talk afterward, because it's interesting, because I saw it listed on their website as $700K.
Correct.
Split between you, Rotary, and us. Rotary, I wonder where the other 500 is, because you're saying 100.
So we've all had that conversation, because Mark texted me last week on Friday. He was like, Toni, you guys got a grant? I was like, yeah, Mark, right? And because he came on the show too, and he was like, well, I know we're limited to $100,000. And I was like, okay. And I said, he asked me how much we got. And I said, I don't know, but I was told on the phone, probably that 100K, right? Because we can go up to that. I said, but we don't know, because I still haven't gotten an email about it. Yeah. And so he said they were limited, but I didn't think, this is what we, and Brian and I said, if we got 100, if Rotary got 100, and Pally Strong got 100, maybe the balance of it went to town council, like 450, right? But then I don't know if town council and Rotary, we don't know. No. We got to wait and see.
What I was told is that Rotary's getting 100 to split with town council evenly. So that means 50,000 is coming to town council. I know, girl, we're going to talk afterward because there's a lot of questions. And I like these people. Look, Fire Aid's getting a lot of grief because the questions are, where is this? I want to get right to, and then we'll talk about Fire Aid. Because I want to get to what probably is needling at people. Yes, but where does that money go? That money cannot go to us as council members. We don't take a salary, and we cannot take. There's no mechanism in place to make that happen. So none of us can do that. But what we can do is exactly what you're doing. What we'll probably do, and what I'm proposing, and what some of the executive committee agree with, and I think all of them probably, and what our chair even pretty much brought up, is that we should take 5,000 for communication efforts. As you and I just talked about the importance of communication, that means years of paying off our website, improving that website, maybe doing a mailing when people are back in homes in years, maybe. So if we at any given time have about 2,000 or 1,500 in our town council bank account, and we just use that to pay off expenses, right? So I've never known us to be, 5,000 would make us flush. And I would be like, let's just sit on it and spend it when we need it. So we got that. So the question would be, where's the other 45,000? We want to do what you want to do. We want to get it right back into the hands of Altadenans. And there's already the Altadena Eaton Fire Recovery Fund, which applications are about to open up in the next week or so, and that is run by community volunteers. So we purposely found a way to push this out of the hands. We had an opportunity with GoFundMe in January at a lunch saying, how can we directly help Altadenans? Because all of these funds are going to organizations that are then expected to help Altadenans. So we wanted to create a fund that was dedicated to money directly into Altadenans' hands. For whatever purpose, renters, home loss, home remediation, whatever it was, we wanted to make sure money got directly. So that's about to happen. So this brings me back to Fire Aid.
And let me, I'm going to do you like I do everybody else. Under your face says Altadena Town Council Vice Chair Nic Arnzen, and right above my head, or to the Altadena Drive, Altadena, because I keep hearing you say Altadena.
Okay.
Not correct everybody. We are not Altadena. We are Altadena.
Where does the word ALTA come from? So first of all, I think they're both right. And this is why.
I do know Spanish translation, Alta above. We have never, ever, ever, ever called it Altadena. But I know a lot of people say it that way. So look, I'm going to put it out here like I do everybody that comes on the show. Because they all say Altadena, and I said, we're not ALL, we're AL, Alta. So anyway.
It's funny, I would say Alta. It's funny I would say Alta because I'm like an Iowa boy, and if you know the Midwestern accent, everything would be Alta. I would say Alta. And if you go historically to Altadena, if you go historically, it's hard not to say it because I don't know where I picked it up. That's how I was told, from the beginning. So in my head, I think, I think they're both right because historically farmers from the Midwest were up here doing crops and doing water reclamation, and farmers would say Alta. That would be correct. But historically, the word is Spanish, which would be Alta. It wouldn't be Alta. It would be Alta. So I think, and that's not why I did it. That's just me trying to put some justification on it. That's me thinking.
That's me harassing you. I harass everybody.
Harass away because
Altadena, and I go, we're Altadena, not Altadena.
I know the guys are probably laughing because they've seen this conversation over and over, right?
Yeah, they're in the background like, here you go.
At least 50 episodes.
All right, so where do you stand?
It's a Spanish word, but we grew up saying Al because I got a dude named Alton Talley that I know, and I wouldn't call him Alton, but he pronounces his name Alton.
Yeah.
So,
here's where I'm at. I would give more respect and credence to those who have lived here longer and called it the same thing longer. So I should start calling it Altadena as much as it would fill my soul.
Come on the team. Join the team of Alta.
Let's unite.
It's wait, stay here, Brian. I think what you said, and I know you guys are not going to put it through us or whatever, however you're going to give it away and however much you get. But we want to partner with you. Like, even if we do our event and have you guys be there at that time, because y'all may be blessed with gift cards or whatever too, because you were all impacted, right? Those that are impacted. But the fact is, and we're not going to not give it to people because there's somebody. Brian was a renter who lost everything. Brian is going to be a recipient of the grant. Me and Jamal have made that decision. He can't, as a board member, to give it to himself, but we can make that decision. We've already made that decision. You guys that were impacted, because everybody will have to fill out the form anyway, regardless, including Brian. But and it wouldn't be like, oh, because Nic's my friend, or oh, because Nic came in the show. If Nic needed it, or whomever, right? Town council member, they saw our form and they were selected, because we want to try to spread it out amongst as many as we can, right? Then so be it, right? You get it. But at that time, we still want to say, in partnership with, right? And if it's the Altadena Town Council or whatever, we are doing this event, they are here representing their tracks, whatever. We still want to do things so that we are together.
Yeah, I think the council will want to focus on making sure none of those monies go directly to all council members. Look, some of us lost our homes and stuff. We'll find other ways to get support.
Right.
There's such a plethora. You both know how many ways there are. So as far as these funds, it's not going to kill us to push that away from us. And the best way for us to push it away is to give it to an entity like the Altadena Eden Fire Recovery Fund, which we have into the code of that fund. No council members can be given money from that fund. We're not directly involved with it anymore, but it was important to council members, including myself, that those funds, that there's no tomfoolery and making sure money goes back to us. We're going to find our support in other ways, and we're in a variety of different socioeconomic makeups on the council. But it was important to us as a whole that as that fund was created and as it was handed over to the community, in a very real way, the people who decide where those funds go are not the council. We have 2 council members heading up and making sure that those people, are structured and run their meetings. They're setting a criteria and they're making choices based on needs assessment. So I appreciate that, but I'm certain whatever funds we were getting, which if only it were $450,000, which is a whole other conversation about.
But then that can't be Pally Strong then, because Pally Strong is like us, an information resource.
Yeah.
And if
we don't know what's going to happen, to be honest.
We don't know.
Until you get
but
that
we
letter.
Did see that.
Yeah. So for those
$700K.
listening, what we're talking about is there was $700,000 as a line item, and under it was listed who makes up the recipients of that particular $700K. What we know is that you're getting 100 probably. We don't have confirmation.
We don't know yet, right? We don't know the number yet.
We're told that you're getting 100 because you're sharing that, and I'm told that we're getting 50 of a 100 package. So you're bringing up the round 2 grants info. So our question is, I didn't even know there was a 4th recipient listed. All I thought was us, you, and Rotary. So we know that 200 of it is. So Polly Strong is listed, huh? Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to throw.
They're LA County.
Doesn't have a podcast, but they do the communication piece too within Palisades.
Okay, so I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but I'm just putting information out there, and you can make up your own mind. But let's look into that. Let's figure that. Let's connect with Polly Strong and just get the 411 and find out. Is this the case? Because if we're reading it correctly, that's 100,000, 100,000, and 500,000 left over, if that's what we get. But I do know, and you can speak for yourself.
Go on.
I was just going to say, I do know that town council is not looking to bank whatever we get. We're looking to get a small amount that makes sense and get the rest into the community's hands. And I'm happy about that. If I were the community, I want to hear that. And transparency is important with any of this and is required. So any grant money that comes to us, anybody can come and ask. They don't need to go on social media on some toxic I can't swear, but some toxic post that says, are they taking the money themselves? You know, they don't need to do that. They just need to ask the question, because we need to give the answer, not because we want to, and we do,
right.
but because we're required to give the answer. So now the three of us are asking the question, where's that other 500K?
Hey, look, maybe we're going to get 250 each. I don't know, Nick.
I highly doubt it, but I love that. And
Well,
if we do,
700 with
we
three
know where we're going to send it.
people. The
Yeah.
math ain't mathing.
No, it's not. So maybe that up to 100,000 is wrong. I don't know. Or so I'm gonna tell you, when we first looked at it last week when she called me, I was like, oh, we get 100. Oh, Pally Strong's getting 100. Oh, the town council and Rotary are gonna split the 5, right?
Only.
Yeah, we don't know. We're speculating.
That's what my brain said.
So wait,
So
how
none
did
of us
you know?
know.
How did you come to Pally Strong getting 100? You heard that from somebody?
No, but if you look at what
No,
they
we
do,
thought they were getting the rest after
No.
we got 100 each.
I didn't. I thought Pally was going to get 100, and then you two, Rotary and Town Council, were splitting the 5, and it'd be 250 each.
Gotcha. And why were
And
you
the
thinking
reason,
Pally was
the
getting
reason
100?
the reason I thought that is because if you go back, Brian, or if you click on what I have it up to, what Pally Strong does, because I already pulled them up. It says one place resources for Palisades by Palisadians, and you can join them. You can explore, but it says why we are Pally Strong. What they do is if you lived in Pally or want information or want to help rebuild, this is your work in progress. And it says you can contribute. They have a donate button too, right? They're on the App Store. You can scan it. And it says you're welcome to debate, but this is not the place for pointing fingers. This space should give enough energy to motivation to get back on the town on your feet. But it says it's information. And it says our mission is simple: support each other and get back to living in our homes as soon and safe as we do. But I don't see where there's anything else that they do. Literally.
So your assumption was based on they're doing what you do. They must be getting the same amount, right?
Uh-huh.
And first of all, I want to say, just for all of us, and you can agree with me or not, good for them. You know, I mean, good for you, what you do. Good for their statement. So there's no pointing fingers. There's just, and this is a great discussion to have, because it's a discussion having all over town. Where is this money going? And I go back to just ask the question. Don't get angry. If Fire Aid and the Annenberg Foundation that's holding the money from Fire Aid is sitting on it, I believe they're sitting on it for a reason. Do we need it right now? We absolutely do. But if they throw it all at us, we're going to have nothing in the fall, nothing in the spring, when all of your renters and your homeowners need to get out of their rentals and their home still isn't done. We're going to need some support. So yeah, we could spend it all right now. And I don't think it would be spent wisely. I think it would be spent as needed, but I think we have to be smart. And I'm glad I don't have to make those decisions. And that's part of the reason that give 50,000 to the town council. Sure, take this other 45 back, because I don't want to make those decisions. God bless you two for whatever decisions you got to make, but I don't want to be in that position. I don't want to be telling which neighbor gets which. And so God bless the people who are making those decisions for us on that fund that we helped set up and now pushed aside, because council's not in that business. We're not in the business of lawyers, builders, or handing money out. And I have fellow council members angry that we're even touching it in any way, and I get it. So we're just trying to push it aside as much as we can.
Yeah. So Brian, go back and pull up that Pally, we are Pally Strong, or where it is again.
Oh, Jamal's
let's get to the
Jamal, I want to show you guys something, because I am now in the back end of Pally Strong. And Jamal, go all the way up to the upper left next to Nick's head and click on the picture.
The picture or the icon?
The icon, picture, same thing, at the upper left. Click right there. And look, we have access to the back end. And if you click under learn more under leadership or all of that, they have everything. ROE forms, debris remediation, rebuilding orders, environmental testing, financial concerns.
They're missing an E on that committee.
Huh?
I'm a quick reader. They're missing an E on committee.
Oh yeah, list of lawsuits, useful insurance resources, Pally rebuild positions, school info. So they're back in.
There's a lot of people involved over there.
They got a
So
whole
this is all Pally Strong?
Yep.
Okay, so let me say, I don't know more. Okay, so first of all, let me say, hold anger, because there's always going to be time to be angry. Get the facts first, right? And I'm looking at that, and look, if they're doing that much, they may be a very different entity than what you are and what we are, because they are in an incorporated area that needs these more philanthropic and private resources. So they may be encompassing a lot that earns them 500,000, right? That they need $500,000 to do. So I don't know how you said you didn't even apply for the money. And I think Rotary did on our behalf without us knowing. So that's great. That's awesome. And we're getting money and it's unexpected, but maybe they applied in a very specifically, they listed out what they do and what their needs are, right? So if they did that, they might have said, you clearly could use $500,000 and it would be used wisely. Or maybe it's BS and we're wondering why 500 is going to the Palisades and not Altadena. Okay.
Exactly.
So
who knows?
I don't know
But
what the answer is.
Yeah, none of us know. But either way, once we get the answer, obviously, we'll know how much we get. You all will know how much you get. And if Pally gets 5, whatever, we don't know because we didn't put the grant in. They might have applied for a grant and had specifics and details and line items and all that. We don't know. But I count it a blessing that we were considered, that somebody thought that the work that we're doing here is important enough to apply for a grant. This is round 2. There is a round 3. We might reapply, but actually apply this time for round 3 based on what we give out, because there is going to continue to be a need. And if we can continue to be a blessing to the community by a grant coming through us, because that's what it is, it's not just to us, it's coming through us, then so be it, right? So
and I'm going to say, you're saying we don't know, and that's so important to point out, because neither do residents, and that's why there's been anger about where is this money going. So what they don't know is that they can have access to those answers, and if they would take a breath from their anger, and I'm not trying to dictate to them, because again, they're not my teenager, but if they just take a breath and they think about, I want an answer, how do I get this answer? They research. Figure it out. These aren't stupid people. They could figure it out. But I'll go so far as to say it would be nice if when the money goes out, it goes out in a way that's more transparent, because we're looking at a site where the three of us are debating, where is that other 500? Is it all Pally Strong? And if so, what's the difference of hiding that? Why not list that specifically in that? So FireAid's doing a great job. Annenberg's doing a great job. And if we're looking for improvement, then as soon as you and I get this info, we can try to as quickly. This is what I said on Monday when the toxic posts were going out. I said, we gotta get in front of this. And it's what we should be doing anyway. We should be transparent from the beginning. This is a point where we should rush, because people grab onto a narrative and they won't let go. So let's set that narrative. Now that we know we got it, let's put the information out there and everything we know, and then let's do more. And that's exactly what our chair and what the rest of the executive committee did. We prepared a statement. By the end of the day, we got it out. We put it on our site, and it basically said we're trying to figure out what to do with this. And now we're going to turn to the council, because we have council members going, what? I didn't know we were getting this. What are you doing with it? That don't trust us as an executive committee. So we need to be more forward and get them to trust us. And stop this nonsense.
It's funny because, people have questioned us, right? And well, what is AltadenaTalks? And it's a little podcast that has like 150 followers. We talked about this yesterday in the show, so we're not going to get back into it. But I'm going to just read exactly what this grant that was given to us that we didn't put in for states. It says, AltadenaTalks Foundation supports fire-impacted families in Altadena through sustainable recovery efforts and fire-related podcast programming hosted by, they only have me on here. I think it was because of Toni Talks and she only met me, although she knows it's Brian and Jamal also. With funding restricted exclusively to fire-related podcasts. So we could use the whole 100,000 for the next couple of years for the podcast, and we're not going to do that. We've already stated.
I think you should. I think you should. I think it's great to get money back into the residents, but I think it's a worthy cause.
Well, we're putting aside money for the next 2 years for the administrative portion of it.
Right.
We've already said 75 cents of every dollar we get is going to go back to the community. So I even donated some of the GoFundMe money that was raised for me to survive, to get this podcast and the nonprofit and all that going, because actually I didn't even use it for that. That's still sitting there in the bank.
Yeah.
I use my own money to do all this.
So the fact that people have questioned, why did we get anything? I don't know that we got 100,000. We have not gotten the emails yet. We were just told it could be up to that, right? Means whatever it is that we get, we've already made a determination that we do want to be a blessing to the community, but technically we don't have to. They're giving us this so that we can continue being a resource and having these podcasting and whatever it takes for us to run that studio time, because we do now have a studio also that we can go to, and that costs, right, by the hour. All kinds of upgrades that we need. There's lots of software, not just this StreamYard platform, but there's software in the background. Brian is constantly editing. I go out and my phone right now, I have no more space because when I'm out, just like Brian, we're constantly videotaping.
Gotta dump your phone every week to the computer.
Exactly. and so it does cost, right? And that's what they gave us the funds for. But us being from Altadena, Altadenians, we want to make sure that our community, and we know that there are some gaps. We know that there are people really struggling still. We know that renters were highly impacted, and we want to be a blessing to them. So for anybody to even at any point question it, they don't really have a right to, because they gave it to us specifically for the podcast and to keep that going. But we are going to do what we're going to do and make sure that people are aware. And we will list on our foundation website later the grants, right? And we're going to have different tiers. One might be 1,000, one might be 250, one might be 300, whatever. And we'll put the names under whatever they, area they fall under. But like, if you guys don't knock it off, type thing. And that's so.
And Stogie Man, had a point about like due diligence and sharing the funds. I think that the point to that is exactly what you just said. They knew who they were giving it to. And I like to believe they knew that with Rotary. They knew that with us, Pally Strong. They knew that with you. They knew that we were going to share the wealth, that we weren't going to sit on it. And if we did, we would just sit on what was needed, which goes back to, that's why some of these funds, they sit on it, because you don't know what expenses are coming. You don't know how big your podcast is getting. And the bigger it gets, the better for Altadena. You don't know what programs the council will put into place that still fall in our lane. And the more we do, the better for Altadena, right? And lastly, I just want to say, when people get money for something they've been volunteering to do, I got no problem with that, because number one, they earned it. And number two, that means now they're going to be dedicated to it for a longer time. They were doing a great job and they were probably about to burn out. But if they get a salary, not only are they going to be dedicated for a longer time and doing that good work longer, they're also going to be beholden to that work. So they're also going to, I'm going to check on them. A perfect example is Altogether. Altogether this block captain program, and Altogether came together after the fire. I am so glad they got some funding, and it's not a lot, but it's enough for me to feel comfortable. Okay, now I have some security. Now they're staying in place, because their good hearts and intentions will have an expiration date. There'll be a point where they need to feed their family, where they need to rebuild their home, and they can't put all the time and effort that they've been putting in. Some of us still do it anyway because we're idiots or we're in a good enough position. My husband's an endocrinologist. Yeah, so
I like that we're idiots. That would be all of us are idiots.
But we get, we get satisfaction out of it. That feeds me. That feeds me to know my community's taken care of. So I'm not doing it out of just the goodness of my heart. I'm doing it recognizing that my soul is replenished by it, and that in the best possible way. So I'm not doing it selflessly because I'm feeding myself. So if these people are getting paid and they can continue to do it, I'm all for it. And I'm sick of people saying, where is that money going and questioning? Just ask the question. Don't don't post it and get all angry. I know what that post is.
I think what happened is all these concerts happened, right? There was Grammys early on, and they had QR codes and raised funds. I have no idea how much was raised through the Grammy Foundation. I do know this Fire Aid raised 600 million. I believe, right? Was it 600 million or 100 million?
I can't remember.
No, I think it's 600.
Again, the good news is Grammys or that is available to us. We can look it up.
Right. And then there was something when you went to that other concert at
GoFundMe did wildfire thing too, and they gave out majority of the people that had accounts $1,000. I had complained because I didn't see nothing they're saying again. Then 2 months later, they sent me $1,000 gift card for my GoFundMe. So
oh, nice. Yeah, they gave us 1,000 to the one that I opened. It was under my account because I've had GoFundMe for a while, just an account. But it was for my parents and my sister because they lost, their home. So they did do that $1,000. But the thing is, 100 million. Okay, so see, it's almost gone because they've already given out 75, if I'm not mistaken. So they got 25
I guess
million.
the last phase is probably going to be the rest of it.
The 25 million on phase 3, whenever, and you could click on it and
minus their administrative costs that they had to have.
Right. So the thing about it is, even with them, because it's a foundation, they have to report that, and somebody can easily say, how much did this one get? And they have to tell you. It's transparent. It's not hidden. We're not going to be hidden. We're going to be transparent. I've already said I got the call and they said we could get up to 100. So I don't know what it is. We might get 10,000. We might get 50. We could get 100. We have literally no idea, right? And we'll find out whenever they send that email and then say, this is what you're going to get. They already told me we have your EIN for the foundation. We'll, do whatever they do, deposit wise, whatever. But anyway, because they've got to email us, we got to tell them our bank account, all of that. They don't have that. But we will come back on and say, here it is. And then when we start to do something from it. Now, if we get 10 grand, I guess maybe we won't be a blessing to the community like we want, but we may still do something, but definitely towards podcast. So anywho, I'm so glad you came on, Nic. Like, I think I need to, obviously we could talk for hours and we're almost at 11 o'clock.
I know, I'm not done.
We are 11:03. I'm not gonna hold you forever, so I'm gonna have you come back on. But yeah, this has been a great conversation. Just that conversation, and then letting people know, because I didn't truly know the full role of it. Brian, why are you sitting there looking like that? He looks like a statue.
Oh, because I was looking at
working on something else.
He's checking out.
Right,
he's
he's like
details
this
for us. I know.
That's why I'm actually off of the screen when I'm doing.
I saw the site you're on. Yeah. No, Toni, I just want to say, I mean, the service of a podcast like this and the money coming in to serve something like that is going to, the biggest thing I've been warned about from community leaders who had the same thing happen to them that we had happen to us is that your town will turn on itself. And we've all witnessed that. And if we can just take a breath and we can connect on podcasts like this, if we can connect in different ways, I think that's going to help our community. And part of that is a service like somebody out there listening going, hey, I'm going to do what they said. I'm going to look up these answers, because not everybody has that time and energy, and people have trauma brain still. And we can tell them, hey, their answers are there. And if I were them, I might go, yeah, they're there, but you got time for that? Because I'm heading to work. And then I'm working until I'm tired, and then I'm feeding the kids, and then I'm going to sleep. When do you want me to look up this? So if somebody is willing to look it up and list it, and we can put it all over the place, this is a great service. Somebody out there has that time. Somebody out there has that vision. So look it up, find it, and get the answers, so people start complaining about where the money's going. The answers are out there. Somebody can compile it.
In my case, I lost everything that I used to do business with. So the only thing I have that I can actually grasp now is this podcast. So I definitely take the time to do the research, because I do not want anyone to be able to say that, no, you're wrong and this is it. Oh, here's the facts right here. And so like I say, here's the link. You can go look it up yourself.
I will not bring anyone on or talk about something, Nic, that I have not vetted. Like, I am the vetting queen. I am going to go and find everything out about you, your mama, whoever. No, I'm just like, but I will dig deep, right? Because I think we do a disservice to people if we talk about something on here or bring someone on and we have not done our due diligence and we have not vetted people. I don't want you coming on here talking crazy.
Thank you.
I had the town hall, the builders town hall at my church on Market. And when we were, Brian,
he's getting served. He's getting served. I love it.
I know, right? Okay, there you go.
Something.
And I had, there were people asking questions at the end. And one person, I was across the room. I said, give me a minute. I'm going to let this lady, then I'll give you the mic. Gave him the mic. Somebody was like, Toni, come here. And I start walking. And he started asking a question and asked something where my ear went. And I went directly back over to him and I said, give me that mic. If I'd have known you were going to ask that question, I would not have given you this mic. I was so pissed off because it started with negativity. I had literally 10 builders on this stage. And the first thing he says is, we know all builders just take people's money and and don't do a good job. It was just so negative. And you're talking to my builders, first of all. And you might have had a bad experience because maybe you didn't vet your builder well enough and do your due diligence, but that is not every builder. Mm-hmm. We were talking before the show when you first got on about somebody that called me yesterday that's like, hey, can I refer my cousin to you because they're going with this person that's, I don't know, 600 or more square foot. Anyway, did something, had a quote. And then we're told, and you have to have solar. Because solar is mandatory, and added 200,000 on top for solar. And I was like, well,
ain't even that much.
It's not
to begin with.
No, absolutely not. And I said, I know because I put solar a year and a half ago. I paid $14,000 cash for my 14 panels. Your battery is, separate. I didn't get one, but I am getting one. But because even when power has gone out, you still have within your batteries for a while some power. So my neighbors will be out. I'll still have power for about an hour or so, right? Because it's still there. But the fact is, like, I had people quote me $27,000 to $60,000 for the same 14 panels. Then I found this company, Mona Lee, and they were like, no, it's 14. Basically $1,000 a panel. That included all the inverters, the installation, just everything, right? And so I was like, okay, I'm going with that. And it's been tremendous. My bill is cut in half, although anybody that knows me knows how I feel about what the net metering 3.0 is. They are now stealing 75% of what we generate and only giving us 25%. So I have an issue with that. Yeah. But I'm on plenty committees about that as well as one of the 2 million solar owners in California. And they're going to have to change it again because if they're telling everybody it's mandatory, you got to get solar, there's no way. And I tell people, look at last summer as hot as it was. Did you have power blackouts? Did the grid go down? And they're like, no. And I said, right, because all of us that have solar that are giving to the grid are keeping it going. So is that kombucha? Mm-hmm. I'm looking at. Okay, cool. I was like, he's just drinking it straight. So
you should see it when I drink it in the car. I'm like, everybody must think I'm drinking a beer in here.
Oh yeah, because it's the bottom.
That's what I do. That's what I do with Bundaberg ginger beer. Yeah, so pull me over.
Like, if they're saying that, and I told her yesterday, I said, it's not $200,000 to add on top of whatever you're building for solar. And that would be a battery and a full roof. That's even with 20, 30 panels. It's not $200,000. So she said, okay, can I give them your number? I said, absolutely. Because that is just insanity. Don't include in the first plans that then you come back and tell somebody, oh, it's extra 200,000. You've got to be crazy. No wonder people don't want to rebuild or think that they can't afford to rebuild because the prices that are being quoted are nonsense. We got builders saying 600 square foot, 800, 1,000. And there's people that I brought on the podcast that are at 340 a square foot, period. And plans have been accepted and permits have been issued and they are starting at 340 a square foot. So all this other foolishness, I'm like, builders are making it unaffordable. Not the insurance companies and not the state or the county, the builders are. And that is a sham and it's shameful. It shouldn't be happening. So, but yeah, you will come on again because we could talk for an hour or two again and have a really good time. Thank you for explaining what you do, what the town council really does. I think a lot of people might have gotten insight because they're not aware that it is simply to listen, convey that message in the correct manner,
Yep.
to the supervisors, to the board, including our supervisor, who happens to be the chair, Catherine Barger. And then whatever decisions they make, they make. People have been getting on those Monday night calls, which is great. You are welcome to go to the board meetings there at 9 a.m. You're welcome to log into a board meeting, submit your comments or whatever. They're going to listen to their constituents, and then all of them are going to get together and make the determination about what's going to be best, right? So if it's something you don't like, you do have recourse, and you can go down there and you can talk to them. But then they convey, or whatever you all hear, you convey back to the community. So yeah, I think that that's very important. I know that people are like, "Oh, we're gonna incorporate and become a city," and I'm like, "Okay, it's happened already 7 times and it didn't happen." No, we're not. We don't want to be a city. And I've said this to people, Nick. I've said, if you want to be in the city, move to Pasadena. Like, that's why Altadenians are up there. We don't want to incorporate. And then people don't understand what it takes. It would take at least a decade. The county would have to say, okay, we'll allow you to cede away from us, and then take the money that they receive from our property taxes and sales tax and say, we're going to give you this as a budget. We'd have to have our own fire department and sheriffs, or contract with them, where now we don't have to contract because it's part of our property taxes. Then we would have city tax, county tax, and sales tax. We only have sales and county tax right now. So I'm okay with that, right? But the fact is, and create a charter. That takes a long time and lots of lawyers, and you got to pay for that. And then have elections. Elections take a long time. You have to go through the county for those elections still. The register recorder, you got to go to the Secretary of State, get all of that approved. And I don't think people understand what it takes to incorporate. And when I broke it all down, I was told by the same person that you told the other day what you said. And I said, you're right on point, because she's very negative, her and her husband. But she was told, oh, well, we'll see how that works out for you, because we're going to be a city by 2028. And all I could do is laugh, because, again, you're so out of touch. You have no clue everything that it takes to become incorporated. You have to have your municipalities for your water, for your power, for your gas. Yes, we have Edison now because we're not a city. But if you're a city, either you have your own or you still contract for those services, including trash and everything. And so to just say, oh, we're going to incorporate because we don't like what happened with this event is not realistic. And I think people need to get into reality and know that you can't just incorporate overnight or in 2 or 3 years because of a few people, even if half of Altadena was like, we want to incorporate, right? Again, ultimately, it would go to the county. They would have to agree to it and agree to give us a budget. And with deficits right now, I don't think LA County is going to give us a penny to incorporate. It's been tried 7 times and it hasn't happened. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's also we're still in trauma. It's not a time to use that. It's not even time. It's time when that type of stuff comes up, but not a good time to think it through.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, anywho, I will let Jamal, you want to come on and do announcements?
I've been like, Nick, I got spider webs forming under my.
I know, right? Nick, he'll do the announcements. It's maybe 10 or whatever there is. If you want to sit in, please feel free to sit in. If you absolutely have to drop, you can drop off. You can leave. You and I will be in contact after this, because I'm bringing you back on. This is such a great conversation.
I do got to go. I have 11 o'clock meeting, but I would have stayed another hour.
Over.
And Nick, thank you. I know I didn't pop on and communicate with you, but I really appreciate you coming on. It was great information that you shared.
Thanks,
all
Nick.
Right, y'all.
Have a good rest of your day. He said, all right, y'all. I love that, Iowa. So Jamal, we're going to segue to you for the announcement. That was a really good conversation with Nick, and I enjoyed him. So I will definitely have him come back on.
We found out a great many things that now, if people who we actually shared the podcast to in the group would actually watch podcasts, then they will see what we're talking about when we talk to the Altadena Town Council, the Altadena Rotary Club, anybody else we've brought on, Colonel Abishal, and all of the other. You know, come on, we're bringing people on here so that you don't have to go look for them.
Right.
That's the whole point.
like Thursday's show is going to be phenomenal with LA County Assessor Jeffrey
Oh.
Pong on here.
By the
Yeah.
way, I forgot to tell them if you wanted to reach out to Nic, here's his. Do I have it here? Yeah, here's his email for the town council. So if you wanted to reach out to Nic, by all means, email him. And I just want to say one more thing before Jamal comes on. LA answers or questions. Operators are standing by for you to put your questions up there.
Oh my God, I hate you.
I
LA
know.
Assessor questions.
But
It's easier to remember as LA asses or questions.
LA
And what
answers.
the crazy part
What
is,
question?
the first day that it came up, that's how I read it. And I was like, LA asses.
That's where I got it from because I didn't spell it that way.
Isn't that isn't that Marcus's password?
It's his password now,
Password.
he said. And it was just like, oh my gosh.
But it probably
I don't
says
know-
LA answers, no questions.
I don't know why my brain looked at it and it came out that way, but it did. And it was just like, and that's the running joke, LA Assessor questions. But it came out LA asses or questions. So
Right. But yeah, LA assessor questions is what we need to have from you by
Please.
Thursday morning.
no. By
Wednesday
tomorrow. No, by
Wednesday
tomorrow. Because Candy has access and she's in the background looking.
Today is
if-
Tuesday, right? I said
Yes.
Wednesday night. You said no
Yeah.
by tomorrow.
No, you said by Thursday morning.
And then I said Wednesday night, and you go, no, by tomorrow. And I said,
Oh.
wait a minute, today is Tuesday.
No,
right?
okay. Anywho, yeah. As long as they get them, and let me see if any have come in. Go on, Jamal. You can do your thing. I'm sorry. Announcements, and I'm gonna look for questions.
All right, today we have. I didn't know which voice to use. I was confused because when my wife enjoyed that voice when I did it because she slept like a rock. She's like, you soothed me and put me to sleep. So I'm gonna have to
Oh.
read to her like a couple days a week.
That
So
was
here we go.
hilarious.
So as we all know, the disaster recovery centers have closed, but we do have the Altadena Community Center available where FEMA, SBA, and select county departments are offering their services still. This is Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and they are not open on the weekends. So keep that in mind. However, the LA County One Stop Permit Center is still located at 464 West Woodbury Road, Suite 210 in Altadena. They have walk-in hours Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30. And if you would like to have a consultation, you can have an appointment with them on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8:30 to 12:30, or Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon. Also, if you want an appointment specifically with Southern California Edison, they're available on Mondays and Wednesdays from 8 a.m. to noon. And in order to actually set up your appointment, you go to the website recovery.lacounty.gov/rebuilding/1-stop-permit-centers. And as we know, only one more deadline that we're waiting on at this particular point for those who actually opted out of having the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers remove the debris, or they didn't do anything. And that deadline is June 30th. This is where you have to have your debris completely removed. And again, it's June 30th. If it's not completed, your property may be declared a public nuisance. And if so, the county may go ahead and clean it themselves, but pass the bill on to the property owners. And if for some reason that happens and you don't pay the bill, they may actually put a lien on your property in order to recover the costs. So definitely take care of your business if you fit into this category. Cal Assist Mortgage Fund. It's a state program that provides much-needed relief from mortgage payments for displaced families whose homes were destroyed or left uninhabitable by the California disasters, such as the Palisades and Eaton fire. So you may be eligible if your primary residence was destroyed or is uninhabitable due to qualified disasters from the 1st of January in 2023 through the 1st or the 8th of January 2025. You would meet the program. Also, you'd have to meet the program income limits. You have a mortgage or reverse mortgage, and you own a single family home, condo, or permanently affixed manufactured home, which may include up to 4 units. If you qualify and are selected, the fund will pay 3 months of mortgage payments up to a max of $20,000. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to remove or maybe I am. Nope. Trying to remove the comments from the screen. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna go back to that other slide. So up to $20,000. The funds never have to be repaid, and it's free to apply. Grants will be paid directly to your mortgage servicer, and the program begins taking applications this Thursday, June 12th, 2025, and funds are limited, and once submitted, applications will be reviewed in the order they're received. So you want to make sure that you apply this Thursday, the 12th, and you would actually go to calassismortgagefund.org and click Apply Now to get started. Also, a reminder, and it was mentioned a little earlier in the conversation with Toni and Nic and Brian, that the Altadena community meetings are still going on Mondays from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. They're online, hosted by Supervisor Catherine Barger, and they're on the YouTube channel, youtube.com /@ County of Los Angeles Newsroom. So definitely get on those if you want to hear what's going on. Today is the summer hiring kickoff. It's located at Dollarhide Community Center, 301 North Tamarind Avenue in Compton. It's from 10 to 2. And if you're looking for a summer job, come on out to the Youth Summer Work Hiring Kickoff. Don't miss your chance to work with local businesses, nonprofits, LA County departments. If you're in between the ages of 14 and 24, this is your moment to meet employers, interview on the spot, and sign up for the Youth Work Program. You might even walk away with a job offer. Kickstart your summer with a great job opportunity. So some of the benefits are you get to earn $17.28 per hour with 160 hours of work experience and soft skill training. For eligibility, again, as indicated before, you have to be between the ages of 14 and 24 or identify as foster or justice system impacted, must experience homelessness, or you're out of school, LGBTQ plus, or from a CalWorks or low-income household. So the requirements are that you need to bring your ID or social security card or birth certificate, work permit if you're 17 or younger, and a resume. If you don't have these documents, they will help you gather what you need to get ready for employment. It's a great opportunity. So to RSVP, you go to bit.ly/YWJ, lowercase UNE, and then the number 10. Or you can scan the QR code. It's a great program.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the last installment of the summer concert series for this month is going to be June 14th. And the artist will be Dwight Carroll Quartet. These concerts are at, again, Loma Alta Park from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's free admission at 3330 North Lincoln Ave in Altadena. I know we've gone to a couple, or you guys have gone to a couple, and these seem to be pretty nice events and pretty nicely attended. And again, we really are excited for the grand reopening of Fair Oaks Burger, which is June 14th, this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Parks and Recreation and Juicy Little Finds are bringing games. The Altadena Library is going to bring a van. And the Pasadena Humane Society, Hands and Paw, and the Love of Animals are holding an adoption for dogs that were displaced in fires. It's going to be free ice cream and sliders by Fair Oaks Burgers, and fresh produce provided by Food for Health, and also artwork done by Noah Hayton, who's a local member of Altadena and Pasadena. Next this Friday or Saturday as well is the Dena Juneteenth, provided by My Tribe Rise. This is at 10:30, from 10:30 to 3:30 at Metropolitan Baptist Church, which is located at 2283 North Fair Oaks Avenue in Altadena. Come out there and experience some joy, resilience, and celebration. And then lastly, at Loma Alta Park, on Thursday, June 19th, which is actually Juneteenth, from 12 to 1:30, they're going to have the 4th annual Juneteenth celebration. Part of this will have the Altadena Oral History Project review, which is Faces of Resilience told through words and photographs, chronicling the African American cultural legacy before and after the Eaton Fire. And also, there'll be the Ellen Garrison Clark Scholarship Award ceremony, which is scholarships awarded to local high school students in the spirit of Ellen Garrison Clark. Tickets before the event are $30 and $35 at the door, and you can purchase your tickets and RSVP at altadenahistoricalsociety.org, or you could scan the QR code. Wow, that actually felt good. It's been a few days since I've actually done this. It's glad to have I removed everybody, and
we're back.
Here we go. Yeah. Welcome back. I'm glad to be back. And that was the announcements for today. If anything else comes up, I'll be looking out for new ones. And man, again, great show today, Toni. It was interesting. If I can add, just the depth of the conversations that people are having about who's getting the money and whether they in their way approve or not. First the question was, where is it going? Now you know where it's going. Now you're kind of complaining about it or questioning. Maybe it's not complaints, but hopefully through the conversation that we've had today, and it's going to require people to actually tune in and watch, right? They're kind of getting a better understanding of what the money will be utilized for in terms of what we're going to do, and potentially the Chamber and the Rotary Club. For the others, we don't know, but we know what we're going to do with the money. And basically, hey, if you're wondering, ask the question, sit back, relax, enjoy the answer, and just roll with us, because we're going to do right by our community, because it is our community.
Totally, yeah. So we'll see. Again, we don't know how much, we don't know when. But whenever it comes, we're going to do what we're going to do and give back. We will reserve some for the podcast, which is technically whatever we're getting is the whole thing
right,
that they are giving to us. But whatever it is, she said it could be up to 100,000. I guess that's the limit. So don't know what it will be, but whatever it is, we will we'll figure it out.
Well, we know what we're going to do. So that's the key. We got plans for it, and that's the bottom line. Oh, I forgot to throw this up here. I always take it off after Wednesday. But
we out here.
But tomorrow at Fair Oaks Burger, We Out Here is going to be there 12 to 3. They have a bunch of resources available. It's, again, if you don't know Fair Oaks Burger's address, is 2560 North Fair Oaks Avenue, and we are excited to have the grand reopening. Now, if you want to partner, you want to donate, or somehow connect with We Out Here, you can reach out to missjuicylittle@gmail.com.
Yeah, they're also giving some special Father's Day baskets out that tomorrow as well.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
You know what? There was one more slide. I forgot. I apologize. Oh, where is it? Did I put it up here?
Thank you, Marcus. We appreciate that. The more people that watch, the more people that will be informed.
Yep.
And if you just started watching us, this is our 105th episode. So You want to catch up? Feel free.
Yeah, you got plenty of time.
But you have to go to YouTube to see them because every 30 days they wipe out the ones off Facebook. So if you're going back to try to look there, you're not going to find it.
And to Brian's point, this is the flyer that I thought I was going to add. I had added already, but it is for Altadena fathers only. It's free Father's Day baskets. It is tomorrow from 12:30 to 2:30, plus a free barbecue plate. It includes 2 sides. Food that's available is barbecue chicken, hot links, hot dogs, potato salad, barbecue baked beans, cabbage with sausage, slice of bread, and a drink. Again, it's located at Farrell's Burger.
2 slices of bread.
I know that's right.
I hope it ain't white bread. I hope it's like wheat bread or a roll. No, although I'm not a father, but
it's probably white bread.
Right. And it says it's just for Altadena fathers only, so I'm assuming you got to bring some sort of proof of your residency. So definitely want to partake in that. But shout out to the fathers. We'll if there's anything else I can find for the fathers, I'll definitely post that as well.
And what's that say that who's doing the barbecue?
Hold on, let me see if I can actually read it.
Johnson's Q, is that what it says? Because usually, she put her hand up, was like, because you ain't gonna want to miss this barbecue.
Oh, she put her hand up.
Remember in the video?
Yeah.
Okay. Like how Kim used to do. Okay.
Right. So it is Johnson's Q. So I'm not familiar with them, but pretty sure it's gonna be good.
So just a reminder about Thursday. I'm posting on all our different Facebook pages, AltadenaTalks, community, Beautiful Altadena, all of them. Beautiful Legacy Altadena. But if you have a question for the assessor, no questions have come in, but ask ahead of time if you can, so that they can just look at their data and have the exact information. And then I'm posting it to the groups now, because if somebody on the group sees it and wants to ask, they can. But not that he will not interact and engage like we're doing now, because he will. But if he knows where the bulk of the questions center or what the thoughts of the people are, then he can get the data. And we want to try lasses of questions, and we can.
We want to take advantage of having these folks here and take advantage in a positive way, right? They are taking the time out, and let's utilize their knowledge and get the answers to the questions we have. Remember, it's AltadenaTalks.org/LA asses or questions. I tried to say that with a straight face. It worked for 2 seconds after.
I'm not even watching it. I just heard it. It sounds funny.
LA assessor questions. That is so on me, because that's what my brain read it as. Because
we never would have said it.
Right. They would have just said LA assessor questions. But when I looked at it a couple of weeks ago, I was like, LA asks a question.
Oh, yeah.
So, good conversation with Nic today. I definitely will bring him back on. I know he's the vice chair. But yeah, it'll be a great time then. And thank you all for everything you do. Thanks for the announcements. Did you? I know I was typing. Did you talk about? And I don't think you did, because we talked about it yesterday. So I don't know if you saw it, but you can tell me the deadline, which is today, for unemployment.
I just filled mine out right before the show.
Oh, for the disaster? No, I didn't. But I can put some. I'll put something up on the group board, and I'll have something for tomorrow. I
think I did put it up yesterday on the group board, and then we talked about it and just said, hey, everybody, today, the 10th, is the last day to apply for disaster unemployment assistance, insurance assistance. And then what was the other thing we talked about, Brian? Oh, the workshop that's going to be on Saturday at Loma Alta Park for the mortgage relief. In our WhatsApp, Jamal, I put the things in there, but we did share the link. I think I also put that on our Altadena Talks community page yesterday. If not, we'll make sure we get it up today, you all. But that workshop for those that may qualify with the income threshold and their lender or their servicer is participating. If you have questions, bring all your documents, bank statement, I think ID, other stuff that they say, mortgage statement maybe, which you could probably get online with your servicer, and show up at Alta Park. It's from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., I believe. Is it 10 to 1 or 10 to 3? I forget.
It's 10 to 1. It's
10 to 1 on Saturday. So those two things, just because they are coming up, and I didn't know if they were added to the announcements, and I wasn't really listening to them because I was typing and doing stuff.
Just related. So this is a workshop related to the one announcement that I made about the money that's going to be paid for up to 3 months, up a maximum of $20,000. So yeah, definitely. Here, let me just put the workshop info up.
Yeah. So the sorry about that. The workshop is direct correlation to that link where people can go and apply. And so the county is Catherine Barger and the county is hosting this workshop where people can get help with the applications or have questions answered at Alta Park on Saturday from 10 to 1. Unemployment insurance, edd.ca.gov. You can go there and look under disaster or search under disaster unemployment insurance assistance. Today is the last day to apply for that.
So yeah, your password. Just put it in backwards. Let's see.
All right.
For this thing to download so I can show it, but it's taking forever.
Oh, is that the movie?
No, I'm gonna show that live afterwards. You know, yesterday I had been up for 35 hours straight, and I actually went to sleep.
Oh, good for you.
So
darn it, you got sleep. Who allowed you to do that, man? Come on.
A little bit. Yeah, but it was worth it. It was a 5-hour nap, is what it was. Because I was up the rest of the night. But I'm waiting for this download to finish so that we can actually show you what we're putting out for Thursday's show. I didn't get a chance to do Nic's because I went to sleep yesterday, but I did do Jeff Prang's, and as soon as this 10 seconds is over, or 20, then I will post it up here. Yep, there it goes. Okay. So let's
a video or whatever. Do the
yeah, you know, just the one that we always put for what do you call that? The announcement for when we're letting people know somebody important is coming on.
Yeah. What the heck? That is so weird the way that showed up. I don't like that. 684-289. I don't like that at all. I'm gonna delete that and redo the post. Anywho, so
and
oh, you're gonna show the thing.
Yeah, this might cut us all off. I don't know yet, but it's a 20-second little. Doesn't have any music or anything, because I just did it. So I'm uploading it to our page and that's what I'll be doing from now. So here we go. And there is what you will see on Thursday. Sorry, Jamal, I cut you out.
No, it's all good.
This is how we'll be showing who comes on from now on, and then we'll post that on all of the groups so that you know what to look forward to next. I think everyone has a lot of questions for this person. They just do not know that they can actually speak to them and say something. So there you go.
Add it back.
I like our new groovy music at the end. I mean, during the show. Hey, let's go.
Hey.
Altadena Talks.
There you go.
The people of Altadena. Yeah. So, Toni, Jamal and I were messing around the other day. He played some music, and I was just back in the background making up some blues type of stuff about Altadena.
Didn't we record it?
Yeah, we did. I'm not gonna play it yet. I gotta figure out which one is supposed to be the best one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was. No, I don't see it. Everything happened. I don't know.
So we good?
Yep.
I think we fresh to death, if you ask me.
Fresh dress.
Well,
Ready to
then,
party.
You know what I'm gonna say?
We're pressed, ready to party. What you gonna say?
Toodles.
Toodles.
Toodaloo.
Not Threedles, but Toodles.
No, zip it there.
That music
Zip
is
it
great.
there.
Let me tell you, y'all know what I did about 1:30 yesterday? I went and sat in the jacuzzi for a good hour. I was falling
I know, I'm
asleep.
jealous. I'm jealous.
Yeah, why are you bragging like that? That's cool.
I'm not bragging. I
That's
haven't been in it
cold-blooded.
in a while.
That's all right, because I got a blow-up jacuzzi that I'm waiting for these fans to come, and I'm going to put it together, and then I'm going to go do the podcast from the jacuzzi.
Well, I almost thought about doing it from there, but I'm like, nah, because I'll be too comfortable and drop my phone in there or something.
She'll be like, no, just get your selfie stick and just post it up right there. And
I think it was 2 o'clock or 2:30. I was like, I haven't been out in my jacuzzi literally in a minute, a couple months. And I was like, it's calling me and I'm tired. And I almost fell asleep.
Keep calling me, man. It keep calling me.
Tired. I was like,
Man, that sucker, you need to answer it like every day.
I know. I used to always be in it. And then
Yeah.
winter came, rain came. I don't get in the rain.
Yeah.
And then
I wouldn't suggest that.
right.
Lightning
Well, I
comes
have
out
before.
now,
As long
she
as
be
it's not
fried.
thunderstorm.
Toni
No, if it's
thinks.
not lightning and thunderstorm anywhere near, I have gotten it in the rain before because I have cover and everything. But I was like,
I don't trust that.
I don't care that it's not night. I'm going out there right now. So,
That's
all right.
good.
Well, anything else? Or we're done?
Nope, just looking forward to Way Back Wednesdays tomorrow.
Mhm.
It's all going to be based on Schoolhouse Rock,
Oh,
We got some stuff to talk
where we actually learned about the government, how English language was performed, accounting.
Should we send that to the White House for some folks to pay
Yeah, I
attention
think
to?
that should be on permanent repeat on certain people's phones.
well, I'm just gonna say
Like
this.
I'm just a bill before I become a law. Not I'm just an executive
Capitol
order
Hill,
overwriting
Hill on
stuff.
Capitol Hill. They need to bring that back out.
They really do, because these kids
And
they had
electric company, they
Animaniacs.
used to do just so much under that on the electric company with Morgan Freeman.
Mhm.
I had my
Easy
kids
reader.
watching Electric Company, Sesame Street, and Mr. Rogers. And even though they were reruns, they were new to them.
Shoot, I used to watch Zoom too, because I used to do science
We're gonna
projects.
zoom, 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 I zoom.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember they had their little language.
Abba,
Abba bubby double bubby.
we're gonna show you why.
Abba you would do double being.
Abba,
Doo-doo,
Doo-doo,
doo-doo.
that-
I
everybody
know,
got
I know.
that from Fat Albert. Abba, you be, weeba, dooba.
And that's exactly how we used to sound.
I used to love the music on Fat Albert. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. He was grooving.
Oh man, you know he had all that funky music.
Mhm.
All right, y'all. Well, have a good rest of your day. Tomorrow, we'll talk on the back end. Sorry about where we're going tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, we don't need people to be trying to stalk us.
So toodles. This girl gonna tell y'all bye too.
Hey, see you next time. I'm gonna start putting some sound effects behind them. Okay, y'all, we had a great show. Glad you were here.
Okay, toodles.
Oh, wait. You gotta do my favorite one. Welcome to the show. Glad you're here.
Turn that off quick. No, because you did it without that today. You said, welcome to the show. I was like, oh my God.
I didn't have to glad you're here.
Hey, it's Fred Albert, and I'm gonna sing
For you.
Right, his finger was all big.
Come join the fun now with me and all the gang. learning from each other while we do our
we do our
thing.
thing.
Gonna have a good time. And then when the trouble came up, it'd be going, whoa, whoa, whoa.
All right, toodles, y'all. We're gonna be on here another 45 minutes. So I will see you later.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.